Hello, Tarnished. Today we're gonna have a little bit of fun and we're gonna have a little bit of an analysis regarding the upcoming DLC Shadow of the Erdtree. I only watched the trailer like a couple of times, but I still think that it could be fun, pointing out some details and thinking of what will come in the future DLC. So without further ado, let's start. I'm gonna try to mention some of the things that I noticed over the trailer, and we can have a little bit of fun speculating. So before we listen to what the narrator will say about Mikola, I would like to mention that I don't really think the sixth lady could also be a man.
Pure
It's
radiant.
Malenia. I saw some people mentioning that it could be her. And the code, let me see if I can go a little bit back. The coat kind of resembles the one of Malenia, the motif, I think, but it also seems like he's wearing or she's wearing a long skirt, so I think it's gonna be a completely new character. And this is it for point number one. Let's proceed and listen to what the narrator will have to say about Mikola.
Pure and radiant, he wields love to shrive clean the hearts of men. There is nothing more terrifying.
So regarding this point, I really find it fascinating because I always thought that Mikola, even before the DLC, that Mikola was a little bit of like a great character, something that could be described as benevolent. But I always felt like there was something shady regarding him. And if you think about it, yes, love could be a fearsome weapon. Love could be used, to control other people, to make them do something that they wouldn't normally do. If we think about it, and Mikola was able to turn a possible rival and an Empyrean into his personal bodyguard. If we think about Malenia, Mikola was also able to completely control Morgott as a corpse. Like, they never even interacted. If we think about like Morgott's descriptions regarding him wanting to share his path with Mikola, we can see from that description that Mikola never once replied to Morgott. And if we also think that about all of the followers of Mikola who blindly follows him, yes, it could be pretty scary. Think about it. And I always had like this, I don't know, let's call it a hunch, regarding that Mikola could also like be in a way the Griffith of Elden Ring. The characters, they really do resemble one another, the way they can inspire people and the way they both are loved by the people who decide to follow them. Regarding Griffith is a character from Berserk, which I don't know if I should say that, but Hidetaka Miyazaki, he really likes Berserk. And if you know, you know. So let's proceed for now. Okay. Nothing out of the ordinary. We were able already to see the spirit graves, tombstones, coming out of the grass in the wallpaper that was released a year ago. But something that I noticed right now is the roots coming out of the cliffs, which might resemble in a way the Deathblight roots, but I'm not really sure. But they kind of give off that vibe. Wait, I just want to go back a little bit. Oh yes. This is like the famous tree that we were able to see in the wallpaper as well. most of us, even including myself, I thought that it was the Erdtree being strangled by the roots of Godwyn, but apparently it's a completely different tree, which is hidden in the lands of shadows. Something that I would like to point immediately is these curtains. They resembles the one in Marika Bedchamber, and there actually are. But there's like this interview that Miyazaki did with IGN, where he mentions that this land has been hidden by Marika. And this could actually be like the old shell of the Crucible, when Marika removed the Rune of Death from the tree, because it appears to be bleeding, and I do think that like removing a part of the Elden Ring from the original tree could actually cause this sort of damage. And I don't know, this place doesn't really give me Lendl vibes. Kinda remind me of like Liurnia in a way, but due to the mist I cannot see any water. Yeah, and there's also these tiny roots still. So, regarding this rune, or this, like, I don't know if I should call it projection, we're still close to the tree, even in this image. It seems to be coming off of the grass. I don't recognize any motif on the helmet, but I did notice something on the second night. Regarding this knight, something that I noticed immediately from the hilt of the sword, that this seems to resemble the motif of the Crucible Knights. If you look on the second set, the one that we get from the map where we find Godwyn, the shoulders, they really, like, they seem to be a perfect match. And this could be like an ex-follower of Godfrey, or possibly a Crucible Knight that was sealed in this dimension. And yes, I do really think could be one of them. Maybe a general, somebody who fought beside Godfrey.
In that forsaken place.
And this is just Evil 2.0. I cannot wait to get this set.
Blood must spill.
Regarding the lady, I saw a lot of like discourse online regarding her. It's possible a mask, but like the funny thing regarding this area, like the shade of purple that seems to be like the main protagonist in this frame, seems to resemble like the incantations of Suntrine, you know? The sleeping element.
Bill. Blood of your fellows.
This gives me complete Raya Lucaria vibes. Could be a mage or somebody that was also sealed. From what I could gather online, this place, or this dimension, if we should call it that, it was originally a place in the lands between, but then it was sealed by Marika as an alternate dimension. Ah yes, we're gonna be getting back to this painting. Regarding the lady over here, I wanted to mention is this is not really her hair. I think it's more like a... they do resemble, or at least they give me like Marika vibes, like how this part of clothes are assorted in a way. But if you pay attention, her hair is actually black. She could be, I'm just gonna do a wild guess, she could be the lady who was standing in front of Mikola at the beginning of the trailer. Or could be someone who's like a close relative of Marika. We also can see here, I think, the Crucible motif on the chest of this guy.
They were never saints.
Like, if you blink, you miss it. But if you pay close attention to the rooftops over here, like the crumbling rooftops, they seem to be stopped in time. They don't fall, they just hang in the air. So it could be two possible things. One could be like some sort of gravitational magic who's keeping the place mostly being like the building in place, or it could also be time magic, you know, so, like some type of time distortion where we can, as we can see like in Placidu's Arena, but it could be either one of the two.
They just happen to be on the losing side of a war.
This is probably like the Star of Sin. It's mentioned like in the ladies, the ones who wear the blindfold, the ones who follow like the fire giant monks. From the interview on IGN, Miyazaki states that this is like an old weapon and that the bodies of the enemies of Marika are all like stuck inside and burning forever inside of here. Something which is also a blink and miss moment. We can see like a little bit of a large skull over here, and this appears to be red hair or a red beard. So it could also be like, it's not only old humans, but also like giants. And this is really cool. This is really interesting. So from what we could see in Elden Ring, regarding the omens, it seemed like at least that it only affected humans. And yes, we can also think about the misbegottens, but like they always have this humanoid shape. But like this is actually like, apart from the lions, yes, the lions, they're the first like animal who shows to have omen signs on it, which is not really an animal, it's just a puppet who's being controlled by two guys. We can see the legs over here. The concept that this costume has been dressed and customized with omen horns, and we can also see horns and like some, like this seems like twisted branches who look like horns adorning this costume, you know. It does remind me like that this could be something like belonging to the Old Kingdom, when the dragons used to rule the earth. And I just find it intriguing because we know a lot about Marika, and it wouldn't be surprising me if she just sealed any residues of like crucible culture, we're gonna call it that, into this dimension. And like the teeth, they're really creepy over here. This looks like human teeth. Yes, here are our two dudes. I want to see if he also has red hair. And the hood seems to be completely covering his head. Something fascinating also over here. It's golden lightning, the lightning of Godwyn, which is really fun in a way, because if you think about the talisman held by the Dragon Knights, which are the protectors of Lindel, when it states that Godwyn, to convince like the population the dragons were not a threat anymore, said that like their scarlet lightning and his golden lightning were one and the same. It's really nice like to see like crucible enemies using that same gold lightning, the one that Godwyn used.
Mother, wouldst thou truly lordship sanction?
This is like, I'm sure 100% this is the Flame of Sin. I'm just gonna call it that. The one was mentioned like by the Briars of Sins. This is Mesmer, by the way. I think everybody knows at this point. But let's proceed and listen to what he has to say to us.
Lordship sanction in one so bereft of light.
Okay, before we continue with the weapon showcase, I really found it interesting what Mesmer is stating. Like, it seems to be mocking us, but it seems also to be genuinely surprised that Marika would extend her grace to us, we tarnished, the ones who were actually bereft of light. And even though, I just want to state a little bit of few things, because like there's like a little bit of interesting designs. He looks like somebody who could or would align himself with Rykard in a way. Like, we can see the snakes, which are hated by the Erdtree culture. We can see dragon wings, the red, the flame, which is another taboo. But at the same time, I do think that when he speaks right now, he's actually like generally confused. And I do think that he's 100% or 90%, you can never be too sure, a follower of Marika. And that he is generally surprised by his mother's decision. He also has a closed eye, like Malenia and Rani. We can also spot here the dragon eye. If you did like a dragon communion in Elden Ring and you eat enough hearts, your eyes would turn like this. It also resembles like the eyes of the bears that you can find or around the lands between.
Bereft of light.
I do think this is like, regarding the spell, I do think this is a Santrina spell.
I presume you, too, are keen to know just what kind of mecha.
This seems to be like another beastal incantation. More like a dragon incantation when we use the dragon ads. But like the funny thing about this bear, that he also has Omen horns. So I do really think like that the Crucible and the Omen's influence inside of this land is really, really strong.
Is doing here.
This give me dancer vibes. And when I mean dancer vibes, I do mean the teacher of Malenia. You know, the blue, the shades, and like the fluid movements with the sword. Okay, this kind of hippo seems to be using a Crucible incantation. And I say, why not? Like, we have in Elden Ring, we have wolves that throws magic at us. You know, the wolf or Radagon. So I don't really find it surprising that an hippo could use like a Crucible incantation. We do know that the first generation Albinarics, they tend to die when their legs completely disappeared. And this horse gives me that exact vibe. Could be like, I would like to say an ancient Albinaric in a way. The silver could be that. And it could also be that like when they did create Albinarics, maybe they started with animals. It wouldn't surprise me too much. Like, the legs of this horse are completely melting. And due to the silver color of both of the bodies, like of the horse and this humanoid enemy, we can also see that also his legs are melting over here. Wouldn't surprise me too much, like if this was like some kind of like prototype of the Albinarics.
Those stripped.
Okay. If we go a little bit back, where is it? I'm gonna try to be fast over here. Yes, exactly. Okay. If we go back to the painting, we could all see like this type of crest, which resemble like a crucible motif. And if we go back here, where is the old man? Over here. We can see the same crest. So we can presume that this is the same guy, even though like he's in really best shape over here. And he seems to be pulling out, I wouldn't say a sword. I wouldn't even know how to call this. Like, this type of weapon, which is like is pulling it out of his body, could be a part of the Elden Ring, or like concentrated runes. But they seem to be also crawling out of his face. But yes, I think they are one and the same.
Of the race of gold shall all meet death in the embrace of Mesmer's flame.
Come now. Touch the withered arm and travel to the realm of shadow. I will not be far behind.
So from the discussion online, we can see that Mesmer is some kind of judicator, you know, of the shadows, of the lands of shadows, and he was placed here by Marek. I think I saw somewhere online that Mesmer was mentioning the War of the Giants, where it could explain why the giants at the north of the capital seems to be impaled by great spears. But I don't think that's the case, just for one thing. I do think that Mesmer is a son of Radagon and Marika, due to the hair and also of the name, Mikola, Malenia, and Mesmer. And if that was the case, Mesmer wouldn't even be born by that time. We do remember that multiple description states that it was Godfrey who conquered the giants and then found the kingdom with Marika. So timeline wise, would it make much of a sense? Could be that Marika herself did it, and Mesmer, by being her son, inherited some sort of power. And one last thing I would like to add, and it kind of hurts me in a way because I had so many tears regarding that topic, but due to the trailer, I think I need to correct myself. We do remember the butterflies that we can find in game, the rotten ones which resemble Malenia, the lucent one which are supposed to be for Mikola, and the burning ones, which I always thought they were linked to Melina in a way. But now that we have Mesmer, I think they belong to him.
May we meet again.
We finally see him, our little golden boy over here. This is 100% Mikola, I have no doubts. And he seems to be standing in front of the Erdtree. And this is really interesting in a way. I do think that we're gonna be fighting Mikola, but it could also be a similar situation like in Dark Souls 3, where most of us thought that we were going to fight Filianor, but in the end it's just a cutscene. I don't know. From the interviews, Miyazaki states that Mikola is going to be the one guiding us in this land of shadows, and not Marika. Well, I think we're gonna have our answers pretty soon, the DLC is coming out this June. So we're gonna see. Elden Ring Shadow of the Erdtree. Mesmer looks really weird in a way, his body seems to be deformed. He has really tall limbs. Little snake. Oh, the little snake also has a wing as well. And there are two snakes actually. One head above and one head below. This reminds me a little bit of Monk's Trident in a way. We have a ring over here, which seems to be in the same finger where Mikola also wears it. Anyways, this is it for this video. I'm gonna have also a second part where we're gonna discuss the interview that Miyazaki did for IGN, and we're gonna see a little bit of more details regarding the DLC. I'm sorry I've been missing lately, but work has been tough, so I didn't have much time. but it's really good to be back. Anyways, hope to see you all soon. And if you like this video, please like, share, and subscribe. Ciao!